of the conference on Trailer Trends 2023 and Beyond Safer, Smarter and Efficient. In this session, we discuss how the growth and development of the trailer industry has propelled India's transport sector forward, addressing evolving customer demands, optimizing free transportation and driving economic progress. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Rajiv Batra, CEO, Tata International Vehicle Applications Private Limited. A big round of applause for Mr. Rajiv Batra. This session will be moderated by Mr. Jinal Shaha, founder and CEO, Expendus Consulting Private Limited. A big round of applause for Mr. Jinal Shaha.
Mr. Ramanathan, your presentation took us actually to a movie kind of feeling, 2050. I'm not sure if this is going to be reality anytime soon, but it was very encouraging to see these technologies exist. I'll come back to that soon, but thank you all for joining us today. Very good evening to all of you. You know, tractor-trailer industry is a bit of unrecognized one area that does hold potential within the entire commercial vehicle industry. Historical challenges like dominance of unorganized sector, bad or worst roads that we had a decade ago, regulations, lack of regulations, if I may say, all of these in bits and parts are ironing out in some cases, right? Do you see a potential for taking another shot at growth of tractor-trailer industry? And with this, Mr. Rajiv, in Mr. Ramanathan's presentation, we saw around about 15% kind of a tractor-trailer penetration, while globally we are looking at 40-50% kind of things. So do you see that potential really to be achieved with the infrastructure growth, we moving towards heavy-duty vehicles, and with now Golden Quadrilateral coming in? So earlier the challenges were narrow roads and restrictions within the cities, but I think so there are now new opportunities coming up with the bigger highways and infrastructure. So do you think we can take a renewed shot and this percentage grows anytime further?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So first of all, I do agree with Mr. Ramanathan that tractor-trailer demand is growing like anything, but he has mentioned for the 15% growth, here I have little bit difference in opinion. It may be much higher than that.
Interesting.
And thanks to our upcoming guest, who is fortunately in this hotel only, Mr. Gadkari, who is focusing more and more on the infrastructure. That is the one of the major reasons why people are shifting from rigid body to the tractor trailers. Over and above, not many new products has came in this industry, which is really very much promising for demand of trailers instead of tractors, rigid bodies. That is, new 4x2 vehicle came for the tractor. And in that, you can save at least 4 tires and can carry 55-ton load. But 55-ton load also need a special design of trailers, that is with the all 3 air suspensions. I remember 5 years back, 6 years back, when we have approached to the industry with the air suspension by showing that a lot of advantages, not only on the per ton extra payload, but otherwise also air suspension having not many advantages as far as efficiency of the vehicle is concerned. But that time people were not considering this because initial capex has been increased by putting the air suspension. But again, thanks to Mr. Gadkari, he has given the advice to the transport fraternity that if you will use air suspension, you will get extra 1 ton payload. So now everything becomes the financial dynamics. And today I can say with the full pride that today at least 75 to 80% trailers we are selling with the air suspension. So that is the changeover has happened in last 5 years. And as Jinal, you have mentioned that what Ramanathan was showing in his presentation might be a dream for you, but really I am telling you, wait only 3 to 4 years.
Excellent.
Yeah, you will find industry is changing much faster than our expectations. I remember was small, I'm just taking some more time.
Sure.
I was in Hanover in September 2022. and I've seen lot many European products which is coming up the new technologies and all. And earlier we were thinking that Europe is 10 years ahead than India. But after just 6 months, I have attended the Auto Expo in Delhi, and I didn't find single difference between Hanover and Auto Expo Delhi.
Amazing.
That is the change has happened in Indian industry. So I believe what Mr. Ramanathan is proposing, the technologies will not take much time. Hardly you can say like 3 to 4 years, you will see all these technologies are available in India. On one last slide, he has mentioned about the intelligent trailer. So that with the help of, earlier known as Webco, now ZF, we have developed this trailer in 2018 itself.
Wow.
So I can understand this, because if you add so many features, the cost will increase, might be not suits to the business viability of the fleet owners. I can understand their point of view also. But technologies are available since 5 years. It's not like that. Only when adoption will come, might be because of the regulation, might be because of the understanding, might be because of the education to the fleet owners, what kind of advantage they will get by using those things. Because everything is the business dynamics. Until they will not convert the technology in the profitability, they may not accept. So this is the onus on our kind of trailer manufacturer, ZF kind of aggregate supplier, to give this education to the fleet owners. Look, adopting this technology will help you to increase your business profitability. That's all.
Very
Thanks.
interesting, Mr. Rajiv. I have a quick follow-up question for you again. You mentioned, the growth or penetration is much more than what we envisage at 15%, maybe more. At the same time, you're saying that there's a lack of education, awareness, or if the technology is existing. So do I link it with that logic that still unorganized segment holds a majority of the share? Then if there's technology available, then where are we lacking behind on adaptations of those? Is it because a lot of unorganized markets still thrive the trailer market?
Look, first of all, being a responsible citizen, responsible player of this industry, I would like to say we should not discount unorganized players. They are part of our economy. They are as respectable as we are in the industry. Only my request to those players, they are the part of the economy, and without that, India will also not move, because majority belongs to that class only, that level only. But only my submission to those players, maintain the regulations. Don't compromise on that. Otherwise, if you are having the capacity of 5 trailers, 10 trailers, no problem, that is the capacity limit, but maintain the regulations, number one. Now your question is about the technology adoption. Good thing is that, means in trailer technology, if you not consider right now the intelligent trailer, what Mr. Ramanathan has shown, otherwise, whatever technology is available right now in India for the trailer point of view, that is, ABS system, EBS system, automatic lifting arrangement. So those are not very complicated. And good thing is that, again, I would like to thanks to ZF in this, because they are playing the vital role in the industry to get this technology from Europe and doing the indigenization in India and make it viable for everyone. So I'm not praising you, my dear friend, but it's a reality. It's a reality. So I should not go away from the reality. But that is the things what they have done to make that technology easily available for everyone and easily affordable. So these two things are there, and this is the technology which we are saying today. What is available? ABS, EBS, double lifting, single lifting, auto lifting, and it is quite easy to adopt also. Right. So as far as braking system is the concern, this is the technology. Second part, you can say the steel, because earlier we were having the impression heavier the trailer can carry heavier the load. But now carrying the heavier load is not a question, because again I would like to thanks to transport fraternity that they have accepted to run their vehicles with the rated load. So the new technology came that how to reduce the trailer weight so that they can get the maximum payload. So for that the new technology came to alteration of the material. And that is also going on, and I am sure in coming years you will see lightest trailers in India with the normal steel. I'm not talking about the aluminum and other material. That is also, we can discuss some other time. But with the normal steel, you will find out the lightest trailers available in the India, and with the good technology, which is good for the operational efficiency as well as safety of the industry.
Excellent. I think so. I'll link this to Mr. Ramanathan. Ramanathan, your presentation mentioned that we still have a sizable amount of deaths coming in. So historically, safety has always been over-promised and under-delivered, unfortunately, at least in India. In most of those do not rate safety as a primary criteria for decision making of a vehicle. In this case, I'd like to have an extended question to you. Like you said, safety technologies are available. I'd like to again try to understand that how many of these tractor trailers on road are really safe today?
I would like to answer it in two ways. Okay. We track regulations in 3-4 domains. Like, for example, India is largely caught up with emission regulations. So now almost we are in par with European or US regulations. In the area of connectivity, we are also on par with the European or something like if you see some of the newest BS6 or OBD2 vehicles, they are also coming with the latest technology like firmware over-the-air update. Like you can update the firmware of the engine by using telematic ECU as the gateway. So it has largely caught up with in the emission as well as connectivity space. Safety space, we are still lagging behind. Like for example, India went to ABS in the year 2015. In the same year, Europe went for stability control and advanced emergency braking system, partial AEBS they call. Okay, so, but now we are in 2023. The stability control is still partially implemented this year. April 23, it is applicable for buses, that too with some exemptions and conditions. So for trucks, it is still not allowed, still not announced. So, but there are some, now there are recently, there are a lot of push from the government, a lot of safety regulations, drafts have been formed, the committees are working. So now, if you talk about advanced emergency braking system or trailer code or bus body code, everything is available now. So the government can now move, a foundation has been made, the government can move fast on the regulation. This is on the regulation front. But on the adoption front, by the fleets or owners, we will, unlike it is a known case that most of them are entrepreneurs and they are all very smart people. So when it makes sense for them on a business sense, then only they will adapt. But now, like the previous panel, some people spoke about now the vehicles are moving almost 800 kilometers to 1,000 kilometers per day. And now, for those fleets, the uptime or even a single breakdown, it matters. So now many of the fleets are voluntarily adapting these safety technologies. And like, for example, if you talk about trailer alone, now 26% of the fleets are adapting ABS as a technology, even though it's a mandate. But EBS and the intelligent trailer program, there is no mandate, but still we see 5 to 10% penetration because these fleets are focusing on total cost of ownership and they are voluntarily adapting and realizing some of the benefits and the efficiency due to that. Thank you.
So I think so it's going to be still more regulatory driven as we saw in the past. Unless there's regulatory whip, it's difficult that we'll see greater adoptions in the market. A follow-up question on Mr. Rajesh. Mr. Ramanathan, he mentioned lightweighting is happening. There is a material change, even if it's not aluminum, but that's a progress in terms of improving efficiencies of the trailer when we look at from TCO perspective. So, what technologies and adaptations are happening in lightweighting? Because you also mentioned that cost is a concern, yes, and cost and weight. So when you look at lightweighting, it will definitely increase the cost in a way. So how do you get that math conveyed to entrepreneurs, as you said?
Yeah, lightweighting has both like, for example, like Mr. Rajiv Batra mentioned, earlier the trailers were designed keeping overload in mind. But now, many of the fleets, when they are purchasing the vehicles, they know the end use in mind, then placing the order on the vehicle. So they know whether they are going to transport the white goods or some perishable items or so what is the end use they know. So for this type of usage, so only in the case of mining or overload condition, they go for heavy weight or something. But in the case of lightweight, they appropriately design the trailer in terms of these goods. Like they are all volumetrically big, but weight-wise less. Then the trailers are also appropriately designed. This is one. On the technology front, there are also different technologies. Like, for example, when you move from mechanical suspension, lift suspension to air suspension, you take away considerable weight from the trailer. So moving from mechanical suspension to air suspension will reduce the weight. Then the other technology which can reduce the weight is moving from drum brakes to disc brakes. Typically, when you move from drum brake to disc brake, so you remove almost 20 kgs per wheel weight. You can reduce the weight. So there are many technologies available which can, apart from what the sizing of the steel or appropriate steel usage, there are technologies available which can reduce the weight of the vehicle.
So those will be linked with the kind of end-use application, and depending on that will be the choice of material. If I understand rightly, I think so steel, cement account for majority of this tractor-trailer domain, and incidentally, they are a heavyweight carrying load. So, Mr. Rajiv, tractor-trailers, like he rightly said, beyond 700, 800,000 kilometers make a lot more sense. At the same time, we are looking at dedicated freight corridors, rail freight. So do you see, in a way, that as a challenge, that at some point, rail freight will be competing with this tractor-trailer market, and this when then impact the kind of penetrations that we are looking at?
Yeah, there is impression in the industry, especially in in automobile, that rail freight might be give us a big challenge to the automobile industry. But I don't think so, because the growth of the country is going much faster than our existing infrastructure for the transportation. If we will not find out the other ways for the logistics, like rail freight, maybe the water, we may not survive, or we may not go parallelly with the growth of the country. So transportation is required many other options. So rail freight is one of that, though it's still in a very premature stage. But I believe it should be on much higher side, because government focuses on that only. But really, I don't have any doubt that it will affect anything on the transportation industry, automobile industry. It will go parallelly, and it is need of the time. Until we will not find out many options for the transportation of goods, we may not compete with the growth of the country. So it is not a threat to the auto industry.
Okay.
Both will grow parallelly, and then country will grow along with that.
And similar logic applies to rigid multi-axle trucks?
Absolutely. Rigid multi-trucks having the different equations, because, as Mr. Ramathan said, earlier there was a overloading was there, which has now almost eliminated. So rigid body was that time the viable, but now there are options available with the 55-ton passing, again because of this axle load increase by 2019, 55-ton passing on the trailers. Trailers also can be carry with the prime movers or the 4x2. So economics basically shifting from rigid body to trailer segment, and infrastructure also supporting to that. Right. So all those things are going in a very balanced manner. Rigid will remain there, where the transportation for the shorter distances. So that will remain there. But again, I will say the growth will happen parallelly. Rigid will also increase. Trailer will also increase, but you can say proportion might be slightly different towards trailer segment.
Sure,
yeah.
sure. Thanks, very valuable insight. Mr. Ramanathan, technology is as good as someone who can use it effectively. Are drivers being trained enough to, utilize these technologies, and are they trained to drive effectively? Because that's a huge gap that we have. How many trained, skilled tractor-trailer drivers do we have?
Many of these technologies, the beauty of this technology is, okay, the driver has to be aware of what type of messages, and when there are something there, he has to see the message on the dashboard and take the appropriate action. But apart from that, it doesn't require much intervention from driver. Like for example, when you take advanced emergency braking system,
Right.
when you correctly implement it, so the number of false alarms is the criteria. Many of the European OEMs, they have criteria like they test it for 1 million kilometers, and the number of false alarm or emergency braking should not exceed this, like a single digit or something. So the products are, if the products are proven for that type of criteria and introduced in India, it doesn't require, because when the driver gets irritated, when so much of alarms comes every 15 kilometers or 20 kilometers, then he switches off the system. So this is one on the technology, but there are many drivers who are well versed, because nowadays everybody is able to use correctly the smartphone and other things. So many of them are well.
It's an excellent point you made, Mr. Ramanathan, not relying on a driver but on the product technology to deliver. I think so. That's a very good takeaway. On the interest of time, I've been told the big boss will be here soon. So we'll open up this floor for quick questions if we have any. Yes, the gentleman on the back.
You talked about the trailer moving towards the air suspension. So if you see the developed nations like Europe or US, you have about close to 90% on a little higher than that as air suspension, and the remaining the mechanical type. So when do you see, with our government of India taking initiatives and other things, when do you see we go to that level? How many years do you anticipate? That's number one. The second is similarly rigid versus tractor trailer. So how this trend going to change, and how soon?
So gentlemen, I have told in my discussion itself, look, 5 years back when we launched this air suspension, that time no one has accepted that product because of the, initial investment was a concern. But in 2000, if I'm not wrong, in 2019, it has been introduced air suspension with 1 ton extra payload. So that is the basically the game changer for the industry, and industry has adapted is the advantage for their operational efficiency. And today I can say, as I mentioned, that almost 70% trailers we are selling with air suspension. So 70% is not a small thing, because we are saying 70%, other also might be selling with the 70%. So industry already shifted from mechanical suspension to air suspension at the level of 70%. Hopefully, by you can say the couple of years, you will see all complete 90% or 90% above fleet, especially in the trailer segment, will be with the air suspension. However, for the rigid air suspension might be still challenge, because that is the the OEMs are having the challenges for the design point of view and the business viability point of view. But for trailers, in couple of years, we can see 90% trailers will move with the air suspension. Your second question about the transformation from rigid body to tractor trailers. So there will be edge for, there is an edge for, tractor trailers because of various reasons, because now transportation are now for the longer distances, 400, 500 kilometers easily vehicles are moving in a day. And for that, trailer might be more viable in terms of business equations. For shorter distances, rigid body will remain as it is. Both will grow together, but advantage is with trailer segment because of the industry is changing like this only. But I can say in future, trailer is the future for the industry, and rigid body will remain there for the transportation of the white goods and for the shorter distances. But you can see in the white good also delivery is doing very well. Means they are doing transportation of the white goods through trailers. So that is one of the examples you can say, but that is the only one example available right now in India. In future you might see more, but especially for the cement, containers, steel applications, you will see more and more trailers, aggregates, more and more trailers than rigid body. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Yes, the gentleman in front.
Hello, sir. Sir, I'm from transportation industry. So my question is for
Do you mind
Mr.
coming this side? I think so. We
yeah.
have some blockage from this. Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Okay. So my question is from Mr. Ramanathan. Sir, as you have explained us about the ADAS system, so I don't know my question is right or wrong, but is it safe in our country? Because as I've seen your video, someone comes in between the vehicle which stop. So as we are developing our, apps and everything in the vehicle, so thieves are also getting advanced nowadays. What if someone throws some plants or trees or stone near our vehicles and our vehicles get stopped automatically on the way and the theft happens? So what will be the solution for that?
Okay. These technologies can be appropriately programmed for different conditions. Okay.
Yeah.
There is a lot of work. That is why we don't introduce these technologies in the aftermarket just like that, but we work hand in hand with OEM. Like for example, I will pick two technologies like the advanced emergency braking system. So these are mainly used in highways, express highways. So every winter you hear about the winter, the peak winter, there is a fog, and in the express highway, there are 7-8 vehicles colliding with each other.
Right.
Because it is physically difficult, challenging for driver to see this fog and the vehicle ahead. But if there is a radar in front and it automatically brakes with a different distance, then you can prevent the collisions with the front vehicle. So many of these, like you can program these technologies like braking, emergency braking. It can happen only if the speed is above 40 kilometers, which is when it is above 40 kilometers, you are in a highway, state highway or national highway. Likewise, the pedestrian, crossing, that is a useful technology when you are moving within the city, or when you are moving at 15-20 kilometers, the traffic is at 15-20 kilometers, then this moving of information system or pedestrian braking, these are deployed. So not all the technologies are deployed everywhere, but it is selected according to the application condition, keeping in mind what you are saying. I brake it, but the vehicle behind, it comes and hits me, what will happen? So these conditions are use cases are well thought of and discussed with OEMs jointly and then implemented.
Okay.
Any other questions? Well, thank you. Mr. Ramanathan and Mr. Rajiv, I'd like to especially appreciate the couple of those insights were eye-opener for many of us. And it was a very, very insightful session from both of you. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, gentlemen.